We just wrapped up a photo shoot involving a model, lingerie, and some really cool locations. Now we're taking you guys behind the scenes so you can take a look at what we did. Welcome to our next shoot. This is a simple shoot, but it's also very complex, and here's why. Basically, we had Valerie sitting on this seat here and looking into a mirror. Now we have one mirror on the back, and we also have another mirror on the side. And whenever you involve mirrors, you reflect basically everything. So not only is it reflecting, what's going on here, but it's also reflecting the other side of the room, and this guy's reflecting everything that happens there. So oftentimes what happens when you shoot mirrors is you're just gonna start reflecting things around that you don't wanna see. And since we didn't wanna clean up this entire side of the room, a good way to do it is just to use your exposure and just control your lights to make sure you're really lighting your subject, but not much else. So that's what we decided to do. We've got a spot grid right behind us. It's a 20-degree spot grid, and that's basically shining directly into her face. You can see the modeling light is actually on right now, that warmer light that's on her. And that's coming directly from the spot grid. Now, a couple really cool things. Because we have a mirror behind her as well, the light is traveling behind her and then coming back from hitting her back as well. So we have one light, and it's serving not only as a key light, but it's also serving as a little bit of a rim light as well, which is very cool. Now, because we're shooting at this angle, we're not only capturing our subject, but we're capturing our subject's reflection. So there's a lot of really cool things you guys can do when it comes to that. You can change your focus. If instead of being focused on your subject, you can be focused on the reflection, and you can do a lot of interesting plays. Also, you can have reflection. Do you want to, if you can look through your reflection at the camera, so can you see the camera now? Yeah, so you can do really cool things as well that we were playing around with, like, okay, look at my camera through the reflection, and then it's gonna look like the reflection's looking back at you, almost like you're peering over her shoulder and she's kind of noticing you're doing something. So there's a lot of really interesting things you can do there. The other thing is, getting your subject to kind of interact with, sometimes it helps to have them interact with another person, but if there is no other person, in this case, she's basically just interacting with herself. That was pretty cool, right? Yeah. Well, a lot easier for a model to they're not just sitting there posing like this. They can see what they're doing, and there's some interaction there. So using mirrors is a really, really cool way to add just another level to this sort of thing. But keep in mind, they do reflect everything. So one really great way to make all those reflections kind of down to a minimum is to use lights with grids on them. So spot grids, if you're using things like softboxes, those have grids as well. I wouldn't recommend using things like umbrellas in this case, because you might see them in the reflection. They don't look that great. I would recommend using things like spot grids or softboxes as well. So yeah, that was basically the lighting setup. We had our spot grid right off to the side, which is shining right into our subject's face, and we had the modeling light turned on so we could see what we were doing. And that was it. It really turned out pretty nice. Now we cranked our shutter speed down just a little bit so we could bring in some of the ambient light from the window and also from the chandelier that we have right above here. And the change in color temperature from the warm to the cool really did play in nicely. So everything came together well, and now we're gonna get to post and see what we can do editing in Photoshop. Guys, thanks for checking out this behind the scenes look at our shoot. If you guys have any other tips or tricks on posing, working with models, lighting, things like that on location, we'd love to hear about them. And if you guys have any other images that you've done similar to this, post them in a comment down below. We'd love to see them. Thanks again, guys, and I'll Phlearn you later.